Since somebody asked me in an email recently, I guess in response to my book review of the Gay Agenda, some questions about if being gay is natural, then where's the gay gene? What about people who claim they used to be gay? What about, if being gay is genetic, then how come it's been passed down from generation to generation? Well, I'm going to repeat, as I've said in 2 videos now, is that homosexuality has, as a matter of fact, and this is scientifically documented, been observed in almost 2,000 species in the wild. Species including house cats, domesticated dogs, sheep, doves of all creatures, macaques, which are monkeys, gorillas, dolphins. Dolphins have got to be some of the gayest creatures alive. Orcas. I could go on forever. And these documentations have existed for at least the last 200 years or so. Various scientists, as well as scientific organizations, by the likes of the National Geographic, the Audubon Society, and whatnot, have been making these documentations. Also, in the year 1996, some American scientists didn't necessarily isolate a quote-unquote gay gene, but they did manage to separate, in mice, which also have natural tendencies toward homosexuality, they did manage to isolate different sets of genes that existed within these gay mice that did not exist in the heterosexual mice. So as far as where is the gay gene is concerned, and is it natural, there's the best answer that I can give you. As for the question, how did the gay gene, or how did homosexuality, if it is natural, continue to exist in humanity for generations and generations and generations? Being a bit of a Japanophile myself, I've read several books about Japanese culture, religion, throughout the ages. During the Tokugawa shogunate, first of all, throughout Japanese history, being gay men at least, has never really been terribly taboo. They're just kind of, so he fucks guys, big deal. But you were still socially expected to marry and conceive a child. It's not at all unusual in some parts of the world to see things like that continuing to happen today. Excuse me, my feet really itch. I went on a hiking trip recently and I think I got some poison ivy. There's also a documentary that I watched recently called, I believe it's called One Nation Under God. And it revolves around Christian efforts to try to convert gay people. In this documentary were 2 ministers who actually wound up falling in love with each other, leaving their wives with which they've already had children. So just because homosexuality is a person's nature doesn't mean that throughout history society has always been okay with it. You were still expected to do certain things. If a woman preferred another woman, she was still expected to marry and have a child by someone else, but people being people, they have kept their desires in secret somehow. This person that messaged me also made the comment that being born black isn't a choice, and that to compare the two is asinine. Well, you're right about that. No one really chooses their skin color, and there's no tanning booth in the world good enough or well worth it enough that could put me in that situation. So I suppose I can't comment on that. But one thing that I would like to tell you, and this is quoting my gay Uncle John, is that John has known all throughout his life, ever since he was a child, that he liked other men. He has known all throughout his teenage years, growing up in New York City, living in Brooklyn, what he was. Why would he choose to put himself through the situation of watching a partner die of AIDS? Why would anyone in their right mind choose to go against the norm, knowing full well that someone who's mentally imbalanced enough, who knows what you are, will kill you just because you are what you are? Comparatively speaking, things like that happen to the black community too, especially here in the South. I mean, just because this isn't the 1960s anymore doesn't mean that there aren't hate crimes against the black community or the Hispanic community. Why would anyone choose to put themselves in a place where they would be deliberately discriminated against, black or gay? So no, being gay is not a choice, and there has been mounting scientific and medical evidence that being gay is in fact natural. Most recent scientific incident involved a farmer's sheep who weren't breeding, and some scientists and doctors came along, observed them, and discovered that the male sheep were fucking the other male sheep. Well, so it turns out that the sheep are gay. Even when they isolated the sheep solely with other female sheep, wouldn't go near them. So, yeah, as far as the book of Leviticus in the Bible is concerned, and I've read the Bible. I've read the King James Version and the New International Version. Let me ask you this. Why is it some of the laws in Leviticus apply today and throughout all time, but others, such as selling your ravished daughter into slavery or killing your neighbor who works on the Sabbath or prays to statues, no longer apply? If you really believe that the Bible is the word of so-called God, deity, invisible father figure in the sky, then either they all apply or they're all bullshit.